She cleaned their toilets for 12 years. Then she saved his life with her own body. Picture this. 2 hospital beds, side by side. In one, a billionaire real estate magnate fighting for every breath. In the other, the woman who scrubbed his floors, who he barely noticed, recovering from surgery that just gave him her kidney. How does a housemaid become the only thing standing between a billionaire and death? And why would she risk everything for a man who never saw her as more than part of furniture? This is the story of Marcia Bennett, a woman who proved that the most valuable things in life can't be bought, sold, or inherited. A woman who showed an entire family what true wealth really means. Before I tell you what happened, drop a comment. Would you risk your life for your employer? Your answer might surprise you by the end of this story. Marcia Bennett was 58 years old when this story begins. For 12 years, she'd been the invisible backbone of the Carnegie household, a sprawling 12,000-square-foot mansion in the heart of Georgia's wealthiest county. Every morning at 6 o'clock, Marcia's old Honda pulled through the service entrance. By 6:15, she was inside, moving through marble hallways with the quiet efficiency of someone who perfected the art of being unseen. She dusted hand-carved banisters, polished floors that reflected chandeliers worth more than her annual salary, arranged fresh flowers in crystal vases that had been in the Carnegie family for generations. And every Tuesday and Thursday, she tended to Mrs. Carnegie's prized orchids, exotic blooms that required precise care and attention. Marcia had grown up in rural Alabama, the daughter of a sharecropper. She'd raised 3 children alone after her husband died in a construction accident. All 3 were grown now, living their own lives, but Marcia still sent money home to her younger sister every month, still volunteered at her church on Sundays, still lived in a modest 1-bedroom apartment 40 minutes from the Carnegie estate. While she worked, she hummed, gospel songs mostly. His Eye is on the Sparrow was her favorite. The music filled the empty rooms, a reminder that she wasn't really alone, even when the family was traveling or at their second home in Hilton Head. The Carnegies were kind enough. Mrs. Linda Carnegie always said please and thank you. Mr. Harold Carnegie, the patriarch, the billionaire who'd built an empire of luxury resorts from Florida to the Carolinas, would offer polite nods when he passed in the hallway. But Marcia knew her place. She was a help, essential but invisible, trusted but distant. That was fine with her. She didn't need recognition. She just needed purpose. Harold Carnegie was the kind of man people wrote business books about. At 67, he still arrived at his office by 7 every morning, still reviewed every major decision, still had the sharp mind and sharper instincts that had turned a single roadside motel into Carnegie luxury resorts. 47 properties spanning 6 states. Forbes estimated his net worth at $3.2 billion. His children, David and Patricia, were executives in the company. His grandchildren attended the finest private schools. The Carnegie name opened doors, secured tables at impossible-to-book restaurants, and commanded respect in every room Harold entered. Marcia had seen it all from her unique vantage point. The charity galas where diamonds sparkled under candlelight, the business meetings conducted in the home study over expensive scotch, the family dinners where deals were discussed between courses. She'd also seen Harold work through the flu, push through exhaustion, dismiss his wife's concerns about his health with a wave of his hand. I'm fine, Linda, just tired. But in the spring of 2022, tired became something else. Harold lost weight. His suits hung looser. Dark circles appeared under his eyes. He moved slower up the mansion's grand staircase. And one morning, Marcia found him sitting in his study at dawn, just sitting, staring at nothing. Linda finally dragged him to see doctors, specialists in Atlanta, then specialists in Boston. The diagnosis came back like a death sentence. Renal failure. Both kidneys were shutting down, and they were shutting down fast. You need a transplant, the nephrologist said. Without one, you have maybe 6 months. Suddenly, all of Harold's billions couldn't buy him the one thing he desperately needed, a compatible kidney. The search began immediately. David and Patricia got tested first. Neither was a match. The family reached out to extended relatives, cousins, nephews, distant connections. Nothing. They contacted private donor networks, the kind that wealthy people whisper about at country clubs. They offered money, incentives, anything, but organs don't work that way. You can't buy compatibility. Harold's name went on the national transplant list, but the wait was measured in years, not months. He didn't have years. The mansion changed. Laughter disappeared from the halls. Business calls became medical consultations. Patricia started crying during family dinners. Linda stopped sleeping. Marcia watched it all unfold while she worked. She saw the fear creeping into Linda's eyes, heard the desperate phone calls, witnessed Harold growing weaker, paler, more withdrawn. She prayed for them. What else could she do? Then came the night that changed everything. It was late, past 9. Marcia was cleaning the study, moving quietly around the mahogany furniture, when she heard sobbing from a hallway. Linda was on the phone with Patricia, her voice breaking. "They can't find anyone. I've tried everything. I'm watching him die, and there's nothing I can do." Marcia froze, mop in hand. Something stirred deep in her chest. Not pity, not obligation. Something else. A conviction, a certainty. She set down the mop, wiped her hands on her apron, and knocked softly on the doorframe. Linda looked up, mascara streaking her cheeks, surprised. She'd forgotten Marcia was even there. "Mrs. Carnegie?" Marcia's voice was quiet but steady. "Ma'am, maybe I could get tested." Linda blinked. "What?" "For Mr. Harold. Maybe I could be a match." Linda's face shifted from confusion to something like embarrassment. "Oh, Marcia, that's very kind, but you don't have to." "I know I don't have to, but I'd like to try." Linda didn't know what to say. It seemed absurd. Why would their housemaid be compatible when family members weren't? But she was desperate, and desperation makes you consider impossible things. I'll mention it to the doctors." The next morning, Marcia went to Emory University Hospital. They drew her blood, ran compatibility tests, took her medical history. The technician was kind but professional. "Results will take a few days. Don't get your hopes up. Matches are rare." Marcia nodded. She'd done what she could. The rest was in God's hands. 3 days passed. Marcia went about her work, dusting, cleaning, humming. The Carnegies didn't mention the test. Neither did she. Then Dr. Morrison called the Carnegie home. Linda answered. "Yes, doctor?" "Mrs. Carnegie, I need you to sit down." Linda's heart dropped. "Is it Harold?" "Has something." No. It's about Marcia Bennett. The test results." "Oh, right. I assume she's not compatible." "Mrs. Carnegie." Dr. Morrison's voice carried an edge of disbelief. "She's a perfect match." Silence. "I'm sorry, what?" 6-antigen match. Perfect compatibility. In 20 years of transplant medicine, I've seen maybe 3 matches this complete. The odds of this are, I can't even calculate them. Linda sat down hard on the study chair. "Are you absolutely certain?" "I've run the test twice. There's no mistake. If Miss Bennett is willing, she could save your husband's life." After Linda hung up, she just sat there, staring at the phone. Marcia was in the kitchen, preparing dinner. Linda walked in slowly, looked at this woman who cleaned her home for 12 years, and saw her, really saw her, for the first time. "Marcia," Linda whispered, "you're a match." Marcia smiled gently. "I know. Dr. Morrison called me too. You still want to do this?" "Yes, ma'am. I do." Everyone tried to stop her. The Carnegie family attorney arrived at the mansion the next day, briefcase in hand, face grim. This creates significant liability issues. If anything goes wrong during surgery, if Miss Bennett has complications. Marcia interrupted him quietly. "I'll sign whatever you need me to sign." Harold himself, weak and gray, called her into his study. "Marcia, I can't ask this of you." "I won't." "You're not asking, Mr. Harold. I'm offering. You could die. Kidney donation has risks, infections, bleeding, long-term health consequences. We're all going to die someday, sir. But you don't have to die today. Not if I can help it." Harold's eyes filled with tears. In 4 decades of ruthless business negotiations, he'd never cried. Now he couldn't stop. Why? Why would you do this? Because God didn't give me this life to watch someone else lose theirs when I can help. Marcia's own family wasn't much happier about her decision. Her daughter, Nicole, called from Texas. Mama, what if something goes wrong? What if you need a kidney someday? Who's going to take care of you? Her sister was more direct. These people have money, Marcia. Millions. They can find another way. Don't risk your life for someone who probably doesn't even know your last name. Even her pastor visited, concern etched on his face. Sister Marcia, I admire your generous heart. But is this wise? Is this what God is truly calling you to do? Marcia listened to all of them, heard their fears, their objections, their love. Then she made her choice. I've prayed about this. I've thought about this. And I have peace. That's how I know it's right. The medical team scheduled the surgery for 2 weeks out. They made sure Marcia understood every risk, every possible complication. She signed consent forms, went through psychological evaluation, met with transplant coordinators. Through it all, she remained calm, certain. David Carnegie, Harold's son, pulled her aside one afternoon. Marcia, my father authorized me to offer you $500,000. Take the money. Help us find another donor. You don't have to be the one. Marcia's response was gentle but firm. Mr. David, some things aren't for sale. This is one of them. The night before surgery, Marcia sat in her small apartment. She called each of her children, told them she loved them, read her Bible, Psalms mostly, prayed for Harold, for Linda, for the surgical team. Lord, if something happens to me tomorrow, let them know I did something that mattered. Then she went to sleep, peaceful as still water. Have you ever made a decision that everyone questioned but you knew in your soul was right? Hit that like button if Marcia's courage is inspiring you, because what happens next will restore your faith in humanity. Surgery day arrived with the quiet intensity of a hell breath. 2 operating rooms side by side, 2 teams of surgeons, 2 lives hanging in balance. Marcia went under anesthesia first. The nephrectomy, kidney removal, is delicate, dangerous. One wrong move and she could hemorrhage. Complications could arise. Her remaining kidney might fail. In the waiting room, the entire Carnegie family gathered. Linda, David, Patricia, Harold's grandchildren. They'd never spent this much time thinking about their housemaid. Now her survival was all they could think about. Hours crawled by. Finally, Dr. Morrison emerged, still in surgical scrubs. The kidney is viable, healthy. We're transplanting now. Linda's knees buckled. David caught her. More waiting, more prayers. Then, finally, both surgeries successful. Mr. Carnegie's body is accepting the kidney. Early signs are excellent. Marcia woke in recovery, disoriented and hurting. Everything felt heavy, wrong. A nurse leaned over her, smiling. You did beautifully, Miss Bennett. You're a hero. Marcia's mouth was dry. How is he? Mr. Carnegie is stable. The kidney is functioning perfectly. You saved his life. Marcia closed her eyes. Tears leaked from the corners. Thank you, Jesus, she whispered. In the room next door, Harold regained consciousness to find Linda holding his hand, crying. Did it work? His voice was a rasp. Yes. Oh my God, yes. Marcia's kidney is working. You're going to be okay. Harold turned his face away from her, shoulders shaking. For the second time in his life, he wept. 3 days later, Harold insisted on seeing Marcia. The nurses wheeled him to her room. He looked at this woman who cleaned his floors, polished his silver, tended his wife's orchids. This woman he'd barely noticed. This woman who'd given him everything. I don't know how to thank you, he said. Marcia smiled, tired but radiant. You just did, Mr. Harold. The story should have stayed private. But someone at the hospital talked to a local reporter. Within 72 hours, it was everywhere. Housemaid saves billionaire boss's life in stunning act of selflessness. Cable news picked it up. Morning shows wanted interviews. Social media exploded with reactions, some celebrating Marsha's compassion, others questioning why Maid had to save a billionaire, sparking fierce debates about wealth inequality and healthcare access. Marsha's phone rang constantly. Producers from Good Morning America, CNN, local Atlanta stations. Everyone wanted her story. She declined almost everything. Finally agreed to one interview with a local reporter, and only because her pastor asked her to consider it. The reporter, a young woman named Ashley, met Marsha at her church. "The whole country is talking about you. What do you want people to know?" Marsha thought for a moment that we're all human. That's it. We all bleed the same. We all need each other. Money doesn't change that. Some people are saying the Carnegie family took advantage of you. They didn't take anything. I gave freely. There's a difference. What would you say to people calling you a hero? Marsha smiled. I'd say they should look around their own communities. Heroes are everywhere. They just don't always make the news. Meanwhile, the Carnegie family was trying to figure out how to thank someone who wanted nothing. They offered her a lifetime pension. She declined. They offered her a house, any property she wanted. She declined. They offered her a seat on their company's charitable foundation board. Again, she declined. Marsha, please, Linda begged. Let us do something. You can keep paying me my regular salary. And make sure my health insurance covers everything I might need going forward. That's practical. That's enough. But you deserve so much more. Mrs. Carnegie, I didn't do it for reward. I did it because kindness shouldn't depend on how much money you have. The only thing Marsha accepted was a request that the Carnegie family establish a scholarship fund in her mother's name for girls from her hometown in Alabama who wanted to go to college. That Harold was honored to do. What would you have done in the Carnegie family's position? How do you repay someone who gave you everything and wants nothing? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the ending will surprise you. 6 months later, Harold Carnegie returned to work, but he was different. His children noticed it first. He'd always been driven, intense, focused on the bottom line. Now, he asked different questions in meetings. How does this affect our employees? What does this mean for the communities where we operate? He started a foundation dedicated to organ donation awareness, personally donated $50 million to kidney disease research. But more than that, he saw people now. He learned the names of everyone who worked at Carnegie Resorts, asked about their families, remembered their children's birthdays. His employees were stunned. What happened to Mr. Carnegie? They whispered. Marsha happened to him. She returned to work at the mansion. Her choice. She didn't need to. The Carnegies would have supported her forever. But she liked the routine, the purpose, the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. The dynamic had shifted, though. Linda invited Marsha for coffee now, not as employee and employer, but as friends. Harold sought her opinion on family matters. On Marsha's 59th birthday, the entire Carnegie family celebrated with her. Cake, candles, laughter. She was no longer invisible. She was family. 1 year after the surgery, the Carnegies unveiled a bronze plaque in their family chapel. Simple, elegant, permanent, in gratitude to Marsha Bennett, who gave more than anyone ever could. At the small ceremony, Harold spoke, his voice thick with emotion. Marsha taught me something I should have known all along. That wealth isn't what you have. It's what you're willing to give. And that the most valuable people in our lives are often the ones we take most for granted. He looked at Marsha. Thank you for seeing me when I couldn't see you. Thank you for giving me a second chance. At life. At being better. Today, Harold Carnegie is 70 years old and thriving. He watches his grandchildren play, attend their soccer games, and marvels at the gift of time he was given. Marsha still works for the family 3 days a week. She could retire. She chooses not to. The work gives her purpose, and the Carnegies give her family. The scholarship fund established in her mother's name has sent 47 girls to college. Young women who might not have had that chance otherwise. Young women who carry forward Marsha's legacy of quiet generosity. And every morning when Marsha arrives, Harold greets her the same way. Good morning, Marsha. Thank you. She always smiles. Good morning, Mr. Harold. Marcia's story teaches us 5 profound truths. First, true generosity asks nothing in return. Marcia's gift was pure because she wanted nothing. No recognition, no reward, no repayment. Second, we're all more alike than we are different. Blood type doesn't care about bank accounts, zip codes, or last names. In the operating room, a billionaire and a housemaid are just 2 humans who need each other. Third, dignity isn't given, it's chosen. Marcia always had dignity. The Carnegies just couldn't see it until she showed them what real grace looks like. Fourth, some debts can't be repaid, only honored. The Carnegies learned that the proper response to an unpayable debt isn't money, it's transformation. Finally, visibility isn't the same as value. Marcia was always valuable, essential, worthy. She didn't need their acknowledgement to know her worth. But when they finally saw her, everything changed. We all have something to give that money can't buy. Time, presence, compassion, sacrifice. The question isn't what I have. The question is, what am I willing to give? Marcia Bennett answered that question with her own body, with 1 kidney. With 12 years of faithful, invisible service followed by 1 moment of stunning courage. When the reporter asked if she had any regrets, Marcia's answer was immediate. How could I? I gotta save a life. That's everything. That's everything. If Marcia's story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And subscribe to Earthly Tales for more stories that remind us what really matters. Because in a world obsessed with what we can take, Marcia shows us the power of what we can give. What's 1 act of kindness you've witnessed that changed you? Tell us in the comments below. We want to hear your stories of everyday heroes who prove that the best of humanity lives in the smallest, quietest, most unexpected places. This is Earthly Tales, reminding you that sometimes the people who change the world don't wear capes or crowns. Sometimes they wear aprons. Sometimes they hum gospel songs while they work. And sometimes they save lives that billionaires' money couldn't buy.